So with the 31st being tomorrow, and of course that being Halloween, I thought it'd be an adequate time to rank the Halloween franchise. So this is going to be a complete ranking of the Halloween franchise, my opinion, all 13 films. I was going to watch the entire franchise for it, but I only got round to watching 9 of them. So I got up to Rob Zombie's Halloween, and then I thought I'd do the video because the recent trilogy is quite fresh in my mind, so I'm happy to have not watched those for the video. But anyway, let's start with number 13 in my ranking of the Halloween franchise. Getting things started at number 13 with my least favourite in the franchise. Yes, I think it's worse than Halloween Ends, and that's Halloween Resurrection. I've seen this about 3 times. I rewatched it yesterday. It's still as bad to me. There's a number of reasons I think it's bad. First of all, let's talk about a couple of good points. Michael looks pretty cool in it. The house is pretty cool where they do the reality show. I thought the idea of the reality show was something different, and it's not the worst idea. It just wasn't executed very well, and the characters are quite insufferable. Sorry about that, some things just fell down there. Yeah, I found the majority of the characters quite insufferable. The main girl's quite good. Don't mind the actress there. She's a good character. And even Busta Rhymes adds an element of like humour to it and stuff. But the other characters, apart from those two, are quite insufferable. Michael's depiction's okay. A couple of the kills are quite interesting and okay. But overall, I feel like this is the weakest in the franchise. It does start quite strong in the asylum where Laurie Strode is being kept and Michael goes after her. The first sort of 10-15 minutes of the film involving that scenario are quite interesting and done pretty well. After that point, though, it takes a deep dive and it's not great. It takes a very it goes into a downward spiral, and I think it's just, it screams to me like it looks, it depicts the tacky side of the 2000s to me. Great decade in some aspects, but it just, yeah, I just felt like it was a little bit tacky, and it's like it was done for the sake of it, just to get another sequel in. And I do not enjoy Resurrection at all, and I think it's the worst in the franchise. Coming in at 12, Halloween Ends. Now, I don't actually mind this film. I just think it's one of the weaker ones in the franchise because Michael's depiction isn't too great. He's kind of weakened after Kills, where he was an absolute menace, and, they almost delved into the, like, supernatural sort of abilities he potentially has. But in this film, he's weakened, so it's more like a Corey Cunningham film. He was an okay side character. I like the stuff with Corey. I just feel, and I don't know if anyone else does, I know there was a lot of disappointment surrounding this film because of how Michael was depicted, and the final battle with Laurie was quite underwhelming. But I just feel like it should have been a spin-off. They could have called this something else, had Michael a part of it, but as a spin-off, had it how it is, but just as a spin-off story, and perhaps not had the Michael and Laurie showdown at the end, and then just carried on and did Halloween Ends after. That's how I feel about this film. Not the worst film in the world. It's shot quite well. Interesting little ideas and things in there. The beginning's pretty cool with the kid death, when he falls, gets tossed over the flight of stairs, when Corey is being trapped in the attic and opens the door. But yeah, one of the weaker ones in the franchise, but I do feel like this could possibly get a cult following in a few years' time. Sort of likened to Halloween 3, how that was badly received upon release, and then, meant 20 plus years later it gets a cult following and it gets more fans. But that could possibly happen with Ends. It's not that bad a film. I quite like it in its own way. It's definitely one of the weaker ones in the franchise, though, for a Michael Myers film. Okay, so as you can see, coming in at 11, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Now, this is where we were into the sort of Michael's Thorn storyline, where he was a part of a cult. Excuse the cough. And this focuses on the character Jamie Lloyd. It's the second one of those films, just after the return of Michael Myers. Yeah, I don't really enjoy this one that much. Again, it's okay for what it is. It captures the autumn quite nicely, and there's some good scenes at the barn party. There's a pretty good kill there with a few people, and Michael Myers' mask looks terrible. Redeeming qualities the film has. It does have Donald Pleasance in there. He's always a joy to watch as Dr. Loomis. Not the worst in the franchise, but Not that great a film either, in my opinion. It's one of my least, I mean, at least even with Resurrection, which I dislike, it's a bit more polarising to watch, I suppose, with it being so different. This one, I think, just kind of murmurs a little bit and sort of, it just placidly goes along. A few decent kills and stuff, couple of good ideas again. As with most of the Halloween films, it's a good franchise. But yeah, Revenge of Michael Myers, not really feeling it. Not the biggest fan of the Jamie Lloyd storyline myself. I think the films are kind of fine, but I'm not the biggest fan of that little period of Michael involving the Thorn stuff. I think it's interesting. I just don't find the films that particularly good. But yeah, don't have too much more to say on this. Yeah, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Next up, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. So with Halloween 3, they went off into an anthology direction, or was going to, with a brand new story outside of the Michael Myers plot. That didn't work out for them at the time, so with number 4 they went back to Michael Myers, and this is the first of the films involving Jamie Lloyd, who I've just been talking about. As I was saying, not too keen on that sort of character. I mean, she was a good actress, like, for a young girl at the time, like, she did the part well. I just wasn't too keen on the films that they did involving her character. This one's a bit better than The Revenge of Michael Myers. I kind of like it how the everyone in the town sort of under a curfew from the police, because well, they're all sort of inside because and the streets are completely empty to some extent because Michael's on a rampage. And there's some good scenes in the house, in the chief's house, or sergeant, whatever he is. And yeah, a couple of good kills. The characters are quite good. The character of Rachel's pretty good. I didn't mind her. Donald Pleasence is pretty good in it. Again, there's some funny stuff involving him. The scene in the gas station is brilliant with Donald Pleasence, where he sees Michael and then it goes up in flames. Obviously, they both survive, but that's more so at the beginning. I think that was an interesting scene. But yeah, not the biggest fan of The Return of Michael Myers. Bit of a, considering they had a bit of a break from him for like Halloween 3 and stuff and then brought him back, it's a little bit of a whimper. It could have been a lot better, but you know what, it's fairly good canon in the series. I don't mind it. I'm just not huge on it. It's kind of average to me, Halloween 4. They call this the Thorn trilogy. Well, it's sort of dubbed that, the number 4, 5 and 6, which I'll get onto very shortly. Just not one of my favourites again. So a couple of good bits in there, but that's Halloween 4, the Return of Michael Myers. Next up, The Curse of Michael Myers. So it's the third film in the sort of Thorn trilogy, sort of whatever that's what the fans call it. A little more interesting than the other two, Return and Revenge, I think. The films grew on me. I used to dislike this one as much as like Resurrection. Rewatched it a few days ago and quite enjoyed it. Thought I'd watch the producer's cut. Interesting concept with Michael and the whole Thorn cult. It's not the best thing for the Halloween franchise, but it's fairly interesting. And yeah, it's a sort of different avenue for the franchise to go. I suppose they were getting a bit stale with ideas and things. Michael's quite menacing in it, some good kills. The autumn atmosphere is good in the town, where they've brought Halloween back after it being sort of outlawed for a period. It's got Tommy Wallace when he's older. That character's back as a bit of a strange one, bit of a strange person. Pretty cool character in this though. Yeah, it's not bad. Curse of Michael Myers, quite enjoyed it. Average again to me, but yeah, it's growing on me, this one. I could see this being a little bit higher in the rankings if I ever did one again in the future. But yeah, Curse of Michael Myers, not too bad. You got Donald Pleasence in there again. It's the last film featuring Pleasence as Loomis, and that's always good to see. So got plenty of Donald Pleasence in the Halloween franchise. But yeah, it's okay, The Curse of Michael Myers. I quite enjoy it. That comes in at, I believe, that will be, let me just think, number 9. Number 8, another Halloween film that's grew on me, and that's H2O from 1998. Jamie Lee Curtis is back. She's not been around since the sequel, Halloween 2. And it's good to see Laurie Strode back as a character in the series. The Halloween franchise, as you'll all know, is just all over the place as far as storyline goes. It's just like, with the new trilogy that came out, they were direct sequels to the original film, discounting the sequels after the John Carpenter's original. Of course, we've got Rob Zombie's remakes in there. So H2O is a direct follow on from the second film. I think this is meant, you know, this is how they did the timeline. The timeline's a complete mess, a bit like the Texas Chainsaw franchise in some regard, but yeah, pretty good Halloween H2O. I enjoyed it. It's one that grows on me, another one that grows on me like Curse. I watched it the other night, had quite a good time with it. Little bit above average for me, still kind of on the average mark. Michael looks okay in it, not too keen on his looks. There's some great scenes where like he's holding himself up on a pipe and he sort of lowers himself down very slowly, like a, you know, like an apex predator. I thought that was a great scene. Jamie Lee Curtis is good in the film. LL Cool J's in the film, the rapper LL Cool J. He plays a fun part. He's enjoyable to watch in this. One of the better things about it, I thought, as a side character. Some good kills. Some good scenes involving a dumbwaiter. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. That stuff's good. I like how they're all kind of in the posh school, because like the rest of the students have gone on a trip, and yeah, it's pretty fun. And obviously Laurie's gone and tried to start a new life and has a son now as well, and she's changed her identity and stuff, but Michael manages to find her, and it all sort of heads towards quite an violent climax. Yeah, pretty good H2. I enjoy it. From 1998, that one. No Donald Pleasance, because he'd passed away. He wasn't a part of this one. But yeah, it's pretty good H2O. It's one of the better ones, definitely. In at number 7, Halloween 2018. So this is the David Gordon Green trilogy, the newer trilogy, where they rebooted the Halloween franchise. I think John Carpenter was involved with the production. Obviously, he's always got his score in the films to some extent. Yeah, this isn't half bad. It's another one that kind of, you know, you kind of enjoy it more the more you see it every so often. And yeah, good depiction of Michael Myers, good little storyline. Michael's back. It completely disregards Halloween 2, where you find out that Laurie's Michael's sister. So that whole Laurie Strode being Michael Myers' sister storyline has gone out the window completely. And what we've got is her just being, Michael just being a random killer and a predator who just went after the young girls at the time. And he's been in an asylum facility, breaks out. Laurie's on edge. She's got a family now, which she's quite distant from, played by Jamie Lee Curtis again. But Michael's gone back to Haddonfield to reap some carnage. And it's got a decent climax. Like I say, good little story. Not the best in the franchise. Could have been better, I suppose. I know some people were disappointed with it. I think it's all right. Pretty good. Pretty good Halloween film. One of the better ones in the franchise. It's shot well. Michael's depiction's good and it's fun. Yeah, not bad at all. It's a pretty good one, 2018 Halloween. Definitely it will become like a staple in the franchise, I think. Especially for me, I'll definitely be one I'll be sticking on. I think I watched it last year, so I skipped it this year, but some good stuff in there. You know, good climax as well. Laurie's house is full of booby traps and things awaiting Michael. She's just on edge waiting for him, and you know, and evidently he does break out and go after her again. Coming in at number 6, one that you might be quite surprised about, Halloween Kills. I know this has its fans, and I know there's a lot of people who dislike it. There's a few reasons I like it. I'm going to go over those. There's a lot of things I do dislike about it. Okay, we'll start with what I like about it. I like Michael's depiction. It's one of his best depictions. He's brutal, he's menacing, he's ferocious. It brings in that kind of almost supernatural element to Michael's character. It's great watching him fuck shit up and mess people up in the town. And one thing I do really like about this film is, with it being the middle film in the new trilogy, Michael's the victor at the end. So most Halloween films, they either like Michael just goes away or they kill him off. But in this film, he stands tall. It's probably the only Halloween film where Michael stands tall. And I love that about this film. Shot really well again. I think this trilogy was shot quite, you know, done quite well in that regard. It's just storyline wise, it's not the best. And this is no exception. With all the good things I have to say about it, the story's pretty bad, with the townspeople just being a bit strange and going after Michael, which you kind of expect in some regard, but it's a bit cheesy when they're chanting and things like that. And yeah, there's those things I don't like about it. Storyline wise, not so strong. Kills, depiction of Michael, yeah, fantastic. And that's Halloween Kills, one of my favourite ones now, just because of how Michael's depicted. Like I went over, he's the victor and stands tall as well for a change, which is great to see in a franchise that focuses around that character. Here's a polarising opinion. I like Halloween 2 a lot. In fact, I kind of really like the film. This is the sequel to Rob Zombie's Halloween. Rob Zombie did 2 remakes. This is the sequel to his remake. A lot of people hate Rob Zombie's interpretations of Halloween. I think they're fantastic and great. Halloween 2 is no exception for me. It's got some really cool ideas in there, with the whole idea of Michael being in a bout of psychosis where he can't distinguish reality from what's inside his head. Obviously he sees his mum on like a white horse a lot, which is kind of freaky and creepy. He sees that in his mind. Follows the events of Halloween 1, follows Laurie, again, who's living with her friends and working in a bookshop. Yeah, really like Rob Zombie's style. I do with a lot of his other films. He's done a couple of films that are not so good as others, but I think his whole, when it's got his fingerprints on it, he knows what he's doing with horror. Majority of the time, he creates good atmosphere and stuff. Yeah, he makes the characters a bit trashy and some of the dialogue's a bit trashy and whatnot, but got some really good points about Halloween 2. Like I said, the whole psychosis thing's interesting, how it focuses on that. Laurie sort of like being concerned that she could possibly turn into a maniac killer like her brother Michael is very interesting. Yeah, I really like this film. Don't have anything bad to say about it, really. I think it's the weirdest Halloween film, and I think that's why a lot of people don't like it and think it's rubbish and crap. I think it's really good. I think it's the most different one. I mean, some people might say Ends is the most different one. I think this is a standout in the series because of it being so different from the other films. The hospital scene, well, hospital dream sequence, if you will, at the beginning is really good, really gory, with the medical stuff and, the nurses and doctors getting killed and stuff, and Laurie trying to escape Michael in the hospital. That's really fun. Although being a dream sequence, but yeah, Halloween 2, fantastic stuff in my opinion. Getting down to the nitty gritty now with number 4 in my ranking, and that is from 2007, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Watched this again last night. Yeah, love this. A lot of people hated the whole backstory thing, humanising Michael and showing you how he sort of transformed into a psychopath and got revenge on his trashy family members, like his stepdad Ronnie, who like taunts him and stuff. He gets a gruesome death, and shows Michael's like sort of descent into becoming a serial killer. That's like the first portion of the film, and then we go on to the main plot from the the remake of the first film. After that section that Rob Zombie added, we go on to a remake of the first film in Rob Zombie fashion, which is also interesting to see. It's done nowhere near as good as John Carpenter, that, but Rob Zombie added a nice bit, I thought, a really interesting ideas and stuff with this one, especially with the relationship between Laurie and Michael. Does humanise him a little bit, as when he goes after Laurie, he's not initially trying to kill her, he's almost trying to protect her in his own way, but he's a psychopath killer, so that gets all muddled. But then obviously she sort of rejects his attempt and plunges a knife into his shoulder, and then that just makes him flip even more, and he just goes after her in the climax and stuff. Loomis is really good. I mean, if you can't get Donald Pleasence, get Malcolm McDowell, great actor. He does a fantastic job as Loomis. He's not Donald Pleasence, which is fine for me, but he's the second best thing. I mean, who better else? Yeah, great aesthetic in this film. Some trashy dialogue and characters and stuff, but you expect that from a Rob Zombie flick. Yeah, I love it. I think it's a great sort of entry into the franchise. It's a remake, Rob Zombie's remake. It's a lot of fun. There's interesting concepts. It's got a whole host of like famous horror actors in there. You get appearances from like Udo Kier. I think the guy from Ticks is in there, and the Ice Cream Man, I forgot his name. Dee Wallace is in there as Laurie Strode's mum. You've got Sid Haig as the cemetery groundskeeper. Brad Dourif, who does Chucky's voice and is in other films, he plays Brackett, Sheriff Brackett. You got Daniel Harris, who played what's her name, Jamie Lloyd in the Thorn films, Return of Michael Myers and Revenge of Michael Myers. It's just it's just great. I think quite an underrated one, and a very interesting one with a lot of good ideas and concepts. I can see why Halloween purists dislike it, you know, with the first film being an absolute classic. Some scenes Rob Zombie recreates in his own way. At least he didn't make a carbon copy, which is what I like about remakes. If you're going to do a remake, use the characters, but put your own spin on it and add new characters as well. If you remake something shot by shot, then it's just going to be terrible and boring and pointless. But at least Rob Zombie does his own thing, puts his own spin. He does recreate the scene where they're walking down the road and Michael's kind of stalking them. He does that very briefly, runs through it quick. It's nowhere near as masterful as that scene in John Carpenter's 1978 classic. But yeah, great stuff, Halloween. Shame he didn't do a third one, in my opinion, but maybe two's enough of Rob Zombie doing Halloween. But yeah, really like Halloween from Rob Zombie. So coming in at number 3 for me, very high in the rankings, one that I love again, and it's Halloween 2, direct continuation of the first film. It's set on the same Halloween night. Laurie's been taken to hospital. Michael's still on the prowl. He's still loose. The police are trying to track him down with Dr. Loomis. Donald Pleasence is back. Jamie Lee Curtis is back. I think John Carpenter did the story, although not directing this. I think this is the same director of Resurrection, which I didn't know until I read about it recently. Yeah, I love Halloween 2. Great aesthetic in the hospital, great continuation, good continuity. A really, you know, like got some good kills in there. Especially like the drowning in the medical tub. That's a good kill. Michael gets absolutely torched at the end. But, you know, he's still coming back at some point. That's Halloween 2 anyway. I don't have too much to say about that. I just really love it and think it's a great sequel to the first film. Oh yeah, Silver Shamrock time. So coming in at number 2, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. This is where they were going to go into an anthology direction. It's completely separate from the Michael Myers storyline. Does have a brief glimpse of him in the film on a television set, but he's not actually a character in the narrative. Yeah, great film. Tom Atkins is fantastic. His female co-actress is great too, you know, she's good in it. Cochrane's good, the villain. Yeah, really good film, Halloween 3. Most people have seen it, so I don't really need to go over the narrative, but it's my second favourite. You can probably guess what number 1's going to be. It's not a hard one to guess. That's why I'm kind of breezing through the last couple. Halloween 3 though, love it. Gotta watch it on Halloween time every year. Like, gotta stick it on. Just love the aesthetic, the whole vibe of it. I think it captures Halloween like perfectly, and it's just so much fun, Halloween. So number 1, Halloween 1978, John Carpenter's masterpiece. Yeah, how could I not have this at number 1, being a big Halloween fan? You've got to respect the OG. It's the best one. It's got the best atmosphere. Michael's depictions, again, is brilliant in it. It's thrilling, it's suspenseful. It's not too gory. I mean, it's not too brutal, sort of like the Rob Zombie films and stuff. You know, it didn't need to have that. But the kills are still rather done quite masterfully, especially like when he pins that guy to the wall and stuff. And yeah, the film as a whole is just brilliant. It's 90 minutes, doesn't overstay its welcome. Great stuff. Donald Pleasence is fantastic as Loomis. You know, he's in a show-stealing role there. You got the original Michael Myers played by the Nick Castle. You got, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis in there as Laurie Strode, and amongst all the other characters, and it's just brilliant. Like I say, very suspenseful, very well done. Captures autumn brilliantly. This 4K from Screen Factory is like amazing, especially the daylight scenes. The autumn daylight scenes just look phenomenal. Like when the girls are walking down the street and Michael peeps out from behind the bush. The colours really pop, and it just looks really nice and crisp and clean. Yeah, really good 4K here. And Halloween is the best one, I think. Definitely, and I'm sure most people would probably agree. But anyway, that doesn't matter. It was my ranking, so, you know, it's just my opinion. You know, everyone has their own opinion. That's the end of the video. So, Halloween at number 1. I'm sure there's a few, like, polarising, like, opinions with the franchise. I know there is, anyway. And, yeah, that's just my take on it, and my personal, like, sort of order that I would rank them in. What's your ranking? If you want to leave a comment, do so. I'll get back to you. Perhaps tell me some of your ranking of the films. Always interesting to hear from you guys. So, yeah, thanks for watching my Halloween franchise ranking. I didn't get through them all again. Like I say, got up to the 9th one. Got up to Rob Zombie's remake. I'll probably watch the other ones I didn't watch this year, next year. I'm kind of burnt out from Halloween films now. Love them, love the franchise. It's grew on me over the years. It wasn't one of my favourite franchises a long time ago, but now it definitely is. And yeah, and some of the films in the series continue to grow on me, so they're good, some good growers in there. But I'm all burnt out from Halloween now, and that's the end of the video, because I'm just burnt out from Halloween. But fantastic franchise. Michael Myers is an absolute legend. Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis, amazing. Can't beat a bit of Donald Pleasence. Love Malcolm McDowell in the Rob Zombie remakes as well as Dr. Loomis. I thought he did a fantastic job. Hard act to follow Donald Pleasence. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.